Hi, how are you, all of my students in grade 7? Welcome to Glory American International channel. Today, inshallah, we will talk about a new lesson in writing, a comparison and contrast. How to write a comparison and contrast essay. So be with me. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to send it via WhatsApp to your teachers. In the beginning, we should know what is the meaning of compare and contrast, or what is the difference between comparison and contrast. If you have two things and you wanted to compare between them, you should talk only about the similarities or the similar points between these two things. While contrast means talking only about the differences between two things. So, comparison talks only about similarities between two things, while contrast talks only about the differences between two things. Here we have an example of the difference between iPhone and Android. For example, here, if we talked about the comparison points or the similar points between iPhone and Android in the middle of these two circles, for example, both of them can download apps. Both of them have carriers. Both of them have GPS and navigators. Both of them have screens. Both of them have good quality hardware and software. So these are the points of comparison, the similar points between iPhone and Android. While contrast points, for example, iPhone, as we know, of course, iPhone's price is so high, while Android applications or Android tools or hardwares are cheaper. For example, iPhone is so fast or works fast when we use apps, while Android are slow. Another difference between iPhone and Android, for example, iPhone has lesser carriers and it's hard to find, while Android are easy to find and it has many carriers. Also, another difference is that iPhone has smaller screens than some of the Android phones, while some Android phones have bigger screens. So here, contrast means the differences. Compare means the similarities. So, after knowing the difference or the meaning of comparison and contrast essay, now, how can I write this? How can I write an essay about comparison and contrast? Actually, we have something called brainstorming. Brainstorming is a good technique or a good strategy in writing. Before writing any paragraph or any essay, you should make a brainstorming. You should think well in all points or in all ideas that relate to your topic. For example, if I want to compare and contrast between iPhone and Android, before writing one word, I should think well. What are the differences between them and what are the similarities between them? So, brainstorming is a good strategy. Please use it. After brainstorming, after organizing my ideas, after knowing what are the ideas that or the points that I write about in my essay, my first sentence in my introduction should talk about thesis statement. What is the meaning of thesis statement? Thesis statement is the idea, the main idea that the rest of your paper will support. So, thesis statement is the main idea that will give the reader of my essay a general knowledge about my topic. I should talk about what, I should write about what. It shouldn't be more than a sentence or two. Of course, don't be vague or your reader won't care. So your thesis statement should be clear, should give a clear message or a clear idea to your reader. Here we have a list of some helping words, some useful words that I can use or that you can use while you are writing your comparison and contrast essay. For example, in the contrast points or sentences, I can use words such as although, different from, however, in contrast, instead of, and so on. While in comparison, you can use other words which refer to similarities between two things, like alike, as well as compared with, either or, likewise, and so on. So try to use some of these words in your essay to make it more professional. Here it's a model of a comparison and contrast essay. Look carefully at the thesis statement. There are several ways I can refer to the eating habits of some of my friends in Canada and in Brazil. Based on my observations, Canadians love meat and potatoes. However, Brazilians prefer rice and beans. Unlike Americans who favor apple pie for dessert, both Canadians and Brazilians seem to prefer creme brulee and creme caramel. In sum, these are some of the many ways I can state some differences and similarities of the eating habits of some of my friends from Brazil and from Canada. Look carefully at the first sentence, and this is our thesis statement. It's short, general, clear, gives the reader an idea about the topic. Now it's your turn, and this is your task. Please write a comparison and contrast essay on the differences and similarities between poetry and prose. Poetry and prose. Send your answers via WhatsApp to your teachers. Thanks for watching.